My name is Gary Tasser, and I'm the founder and president of Beyond Numbers Guru. I'm an MBA for fellow chartered accountant from India and a CPA candidate in the US. And with me is Harvey Sandhu, my nephew and a CPA based out of Dallas. What we are doing is just following up on a promise of doing a podcast for cash flow in our initial entrepreneur enablement. So we started this entrepreneur enablement series of podcasts to help the entrepreneurs in accounting, bookkeeping, taxes, and also profit and process perspective. So let's get started. So we are Beyond Numbers Guru, a cloud-based firm, which is we are very tech-savvy accountants, and we do proactively real-time bookkeeping, taxes, and process and profit consulting. And the objective of this present podcast is profitability versus cash flowability. We also listed our why you need to use Beyond Guru, which basically is self-explanatory. You can read it when you watch this podcast. So the next is, before we start, I want to talk about who, why, and what, and how we are doing the cash flow podcast, and why we are doing the cash flow podcast, and for whom, etc., etc. But this is particularly relevant in this day and age where the recession is looming, and I'm very concerned about the recession. And I can talk to my business clients, and they also cash flow is very near and dear to my heart and my partners, and also it's very relevant in this day and age. So what is this? Is basically it's who is this for? Before I start, who is this for? Let me explain. Healthy cash flow is the lifeline of any business, regardless of the industry or the size. Without it, most promising ideas or firms will fail. That's why we're saying this is for any business, big or small. Cash flow is very important. And what is profit and cash flow? They are interrelated. Even if you have profit, you will have a good cash flow. Sometimes we'll also explain that sometimes you may not have good profitability, but still there's a cash flow there. Cash flow is the king, and cash flow is the key. Everybody has to focus on the cash flow, and that's why we explain why. Now, along with that, we're going to also talk about the 7 cash flow drivers. Basically, every business has these 7 facets in their business, from which cash flow can be controlled. And then we have come up with a Beyond Guru profit approach and a Beyond Guru cash flow advisory service. So we're going to talk about that as well, and how we do it. That's what we do, and then how we do it. Basically, we will assess your accounting, your business, and your numbers, and we implement this profit approach after an analysis of your cash flow, and also suggest the improvements. For example, we give you budgets to operate, a sales planning tools, some reports, and how your cash is being used. So basically, it's a whole package comprising of profit and cash flow. Let's move on to the next. This is profitability versus cash flowability. There's no such term as cash flowability, but it is basically cash flow comparing with the profit. If from an accounting perspective, if you look at revenue, is basically revenue minus expenses, and the cash flow is cash inflow minus cash outflow. And this cash flow comprises of the cash, bank, credit card, all the modes of payment. And why cash flow? Because I have seen in many businesses for which we have done accounting, as mentioned here, growth, sales, and its perils. Excuse me, I'm choking. So business for the month of June, they did 90,000, for example, a retail business, 90,000 in sales. And then in the month of July, because it's an accrual accounting, they would have to pay for that. So especially when there is accrual accounting, and most businesses use, who have inventory and retail business and other businesses, they use accrual accounting, and also some business people, they use the bank balance accounting. So in that context, which is very, very relevant, you need to understand the cash flow. And then, as I said, we give you cash flow details and then consult on that. And by providing you a statement of cash flow, we analyze the ratios, particularly for a retail business, for example, labor productivity, your inventory turnover, all these things, so that you can control your cash flow with those. That's the relevancy of cash flowability with the profitability. As I mentioned, we're going to talk about the cash flow drivers. Before talk about the driver, I'm going to explain again a little more about the cash flow. We all know that cash is the lifeblood of the business. Without liquidity, business will either wither or die. Every year in most major economies, tens of thousands of businesses fail or are in acute distress because of the cash flow situation. Without cash and liquidity, eventually a good business will be starved of oxygen and fail to meet its commitment and gasp for its last breath. And I always say, in any business, a management has to be knowledge of the cash flow. They should build a cash flow culture. Having said that, let's look at these sales 7 cash flow drivers. Sales growth is primarily the responsibility of the owner of the business or the leaders of the business or the sales department. And then what we can do is we can look at the sales and we can give them some sales analysis reports, which products are selling the most, and all those other things which can be done along with for helping increasing the sales. But it is primarily the responsibility of the management, and we give them some hint, hey, you need to focus on the sales. And then gross margin is very important. This is basically your gross profit, sales minus cost of the good, direct cost of the goods. And this is again important in the sense that we help about 6-7 in different industries, including auto business, trucking, and logistics. We lump it under one group, and then also retail and consulting and professional services, e-commerce, and hotel and hospitality management. And also we have some schools, Montessori schools. We kind of specializing on Montessori schools also. For all these industries, we know what is their right amount of gross margin. We compared it with the industry standards. And for example, auto business, you need to have at least 48% gross margin to have impact on your cash flow and also have a profit and take home money. So that's the gross margin. And then selling and general admin expenses. This is also very important because to run the business, you need expenses, and these are variable expenses, your rent and utilities, and also any selling expenses, advertisement, and so on. And here I want to point about what's happening in the Silicon Valley. The rents are Silicon Valley or the metropolitan area, rents are increasing. For a retail business, our analysis has shown the rent should not be more than 10 to 12%. But I'm seeing in some of our clients, the rent is 20% of the revenue. That's insane. And if they don't control their cash flow, they will have to shut down the business. So all things have to be looked into it. And accounts receivable and payables, these are very necessary because money will come in and money you have to pay for the goods and services you purchased. And then for the sales, you have the receivables. We can help manage your receivables and payables, but here also you need to understand that how fast can you receive the money. For example, we give reports when it is 90, 120 days old, or even 60 days old, based on the policy we work out with the customers. And then we can set up reminders, and there are multiple softwares which we can use with which the money can be collected, debt can be chased. And then accounts payable, we give you the numbers and how much purchase you made from a vendor, and then you can negotiate the terms and also some discounts. And inventory and capital expenditure. Inventory for retail business, e-commerce business is huge because that's a good chunk of money tied to the inventory. And then you need to understand the inventory turnover, how fast can you turn over the inventory, and just-in-time inventory. For all these, there are multiple inventory apps, and we can consult on which app to use, particularly in the e-commerce business. And then capital expenditure. I mentioned about the bank balance accounting. When people are doing the bank balance accounting, when they have lots of money in the bank, they may purchase some asset. Or one owner, he purchased a luxury car, and then to be used in the business. And because money was flush, and the next month he was struggling for cash because he didn't realize it. And I've been telling him, but now he completely understands the value of the cash flow. So basically, this cash flow is a paradigm not only for business survival, it is necessary for your growth strategy and success. And as I said earlier, you should build a cash flow culture. All right, folks, that's enough of the 7 cash flow driver. Let's look at what is BN Guru Cash Flow App Advisory Services. Basically, we have perfected the cash flow service, and what we do is we help you understand what are the cash flow issues you have, and then fix these issues by different scenario planning based on your realistic assumptions and the real data which we have. We help you improve your cash flow efficiency, basically in data collection, debt collection, automation, cash flow planning. And then we also give you insight as to the total cash flow trend, monitor important income and expense accounts in Xero and QBO, which we use, receivable, payables, and then cash flow statements, etc. With this insight, you have a better understanding of your cash flow. And along with that, we give you cash flow action item also, like cash flow forecasting, AR and AP, proactive monitoring, and even access to the capital. Because nowadays, there are a lot of companies who provide capital looking at the books, and our books can be integrated with some of the finance companies, and then we can help you generate report which the banks or the lending companies look, and based on the numbers, we can help you create that also. And then how we do this, what we do is we build a business profile. Since we are doing bookkeeping for accounting for our customer, so we can build a profile from there. And also we have an add-on service, which is if a new customer comes and either they want to get our bookkeeping service or they just want to do a one-off project of cash flow consulting, business cash flow app advisory service. So we can do that also. So in that case, we will look at the books and get the data and then analyze the data, build a profile and find out what are the pain points and the problem areas. So basically, we look at the financial health of the company. Is your company cash flow positive or negative? Are you having problems paying bills? If that is the case, it's putting your long-term viability into the risk. Then we also look at the short-term and the long-term goals. I'm going to show a good story, not story, but a real example from our first construction customer, which we got. This guy, they hired us, and when they hired, we went for our kickoff meeting, and then I casually asked, why did you hire us? I am a CPA candidate, and my nephew is a CPA, but and you interviewed several big CPA firms, but why did you hire us? And his answer was mesmerizing. He said, basically, what I hired because you did not talk about numbers and you didn't talk about taxes, but you cared about our business, where we are and where we want to go. These are the 3 different craftsmen, tradesmen, and they combined and built a bigger corporation in the Silicon Valley to do bigger projects. So they are very happy with our support we're providing, because along with accounting and bookkeeping, we helped their systems and processes and also do profit consulting with them. So this is our main focus. That's why we understand your business, learn your short-term and long-term goals. What are the cash flow pain points? Basically, when you are having problem paying your bills, and then since we do your books, we look at the bank, and then in the bank reconciliation, we notice there are multiple bank charges, $35, $35, $35, and some banks, they charge $105. This is a drainage of your cash flow. So we look at those, and then we also look at the number of employees a business is having. For example, in our auto business, I have learned that if an auto business has more than 3 technicians, 1 oil changer and 1 technician and 1 small guy, that's an optimal. And then the manager has to be somewhat hands-on. And if in another store, which was basically management was paying himself very high salary, and then they were using a lot more people, and they were constantly going under negative cash flow. Because for the labor, we do a labor productivity analysis, and then we give you what is the optimal number of labor also for the cash flow perspective. And that's why we ask number of employees. And then also we find out how much your business data tools and how proficient are you in technology, because we are tech focused consulting, profit and accounting and consulting company. In that sense, we help you bring couple tech apps along with the accounting apps, and then that helps you with a total automation and a proper control of your numbers. And you know your, that's why we named our company Beyond Numbers Guru. So we help you understand the numbers and go about. And I'm talking about another auto store business guy. This guy is to make a 7,000 profit, and he say, "Where is my cash?" And then I used to I would have to give him a cash flow statement and then lay out, this is the money you took out for this purpose, this purpose, this purpose, and then they realize it. And now they have built a cash flow culture, and they are doing very good. And particularly in the recession coming, they are properly, they have a safe thing to go about in the next 2 to 3, 4, 5 years when the recession comes, or if and when the recession comes. So this is what is about the business BN Guru Cash Flow Advisory Service. Next is we're going to talk about BN Guru profitability approach. This is for a running business. I always say, how much net profit are you making? And then some of my clients, which they were initially making 3 to 4%, I used to say, hey, you shut down your business, and basically I'm cannibalizing my revenue also, our revenue also. So, but then they say, why are you saying that? I said, this is not good. You cannot survive with the 3%, 1 to 3%, 4% net revenue, because you have a debt financing. You have debt financing. You cannot pay your debt. You cannot pay your taxes. And then you have to pull money from your pocket. And now my approach is basically 10% is the new break even. If you have 10%, then you are good. You should approach for maybe 15 to 20%, but every industry is different. But on an average, I say 20% revenue profit you want to achieve, and that's what we help you achieve that. How we do with that? Because if you look at, and that's why we say we turn cash-eating monster to money-making machine. How we do that? Because we focus on the profit, and then we help you pay debt and focus on paying debt and paying taxes and taking some a good chunk of money home. Why we do that? Because let's look at accounting perspective. What is accounting perspective? Profit is revenue minus expense. But what does the profit approach says? Just reversing some of the numbers. Revenue minus profit is equal to expense. For example, if $100 is your revenue and you want to make a $20 profit or 20% of the profit, your expenses is 80%. Hint, hint, that's your budget. 80% of the revenue is your budget. So there have to be looked into whether it's in a direct cost or your SGA expenses or owner draw or owner salaries. You have to adjust in any of those to get that. And as from auto perspective, as I mentioned, 48%, it should be your gross profit. Why 48%? Because then you have about 28% is your SGA, because this has a 20% is your this one particular the client which I'm talking about, 20% is their rent. So 8% is going in their other SGA. So they are very tightly controlled other SGA expenses. And now he's working on raising his gross profit beyond 50%. So how we do this? We basically look at your business. We do an assessment and analysis, and then we come up with an approach with you. We say, hey, you need to make 20%, so your cost should be 80%. So we set up multiple accounts. Couple of our logistic customers have implemented that. They have their OPEX account where money comes and goes, and then one account for profit, one account for payroll and taxes, and one account for debt payment. So as soon as the money comes, because they get payments from their, for whom they have done the work, check of 30,000, 40,000 comes, immediately they transfer 20% to the profit account, and then based on the debt, 10% to the debt account, 23% into the labor and taxes account. And then that's how they manage. And then OPEX account has money coming in and going with other SGA and other expenses. This is the profit approach. And then customers can use either the profit approach or cash flow system, which we BN Group Cash Flow Advisory Services. My challenge to you is, do you want to be a company that is in the 34% that make it after 10 years? Only 34% of the companies make it after 10 years. And how we do it, as I said, you focus on the business and the growth and managing your employees. We help you with the analyze, grow, prosper with the profit and process approach. And then if required, you can continue with the business, or if you want to sell the business, we help you sell the business also. For one e-commerce customer, we help them go to $1 million sale, and then when they wanted to sell, we help them in the sale process and preparing all the numbers for the broker. And really, the broker and the customer really appreciated, and broker even commented, this is the first accountant I'm seeing who's helping with me in the sale. So that was a good thing for us, and we felt very happy about it. So that's, folks, is about BN Group Profitably approach and the cash flow system. And the big takeaway from this is we will help using the profitability approach or the cash flow system. We ensure that you have reasonable profit, you pay your taxes and payroll and taxes on time, and then you also pay down your debt, because we do a holistic approach. We do that. This is particularly important nowadays in the recession, where the recession is looming. How to contact us? Basically, log on to BN Guru, and then we have a cash flow questionnaire. You fill up that cash flow questionnaire, or you can email to info@bnguru with the subject line cash flow help, and then we will help you with that. Or you can call my number 510-825-9398 and my partner Harvey's number 870-648-5489. As I'm going to just now talk about ourselves. BN Guru, we have 3 packages, the likes of bronze, silver, and gold. The bronze package primarily does bookkeeping, accounting, and payroll, plain. And then if you require, because some people are very price conscious, so we give them this approach. And then the silver packages, along with accounting, bookkeeping, basically the bronze package, plus we do profit approach or cash flow consulting with them, and then help them make their money and then pay the debt and also the whole shebang. But there is a gold package also, which goes beyond the basic bronze plus profit, and that is the process and the strategy consulting. By doing that, we do help you overall do your business transformation. The example I'm going to give is one customer, after 3-4 months of his bookkeeping and accounting and taxes, I challenged him. I said, Harry, how about if I save you $8,000 to $9,000 per month? And he said, are you kidding? I say, Harry, I'm not kidding. What do you need? That next question he said, I said, what I need is I need 1 day of your time, and I need 2-3 hours of your key employees and the department heads time. And he committed, and then I interviewed them. And then what we did an as is and a to be process. In an as is process, we found out multiple handing points, and there were multiple delays happening, and then a lot of paperwork. So basically, it is totally inefficient process, a process for onboarding a customer, a process of quote to cash, a process of purchase to pay, and then any other processes in the businesses. We help transform that. And then when we did a 2B, what we did with 2B, we basically streamlined the process. We introduced a couple software, and then using that software and the Xero and the Q, in that case, we were using Xero or the QBO. We bring a holistic integrated system. And with that system, we help you overall with accounting, taxes, process, and profit. And that's why we have it in our gold package. In a gold package, another thing we do is we do basically your accounts payable work also. We can automate your accounts payable and automate your accounts receivable also. We use the Bill.com software in that case. So we are very familiar with all the different softwares available for the different, for the 5-6 industries which we work. And also we use a couple of the apps we use ourselves internally because we want to do it automated and a very streamlined accounting and taxes and our operations also. So that's, folks, is the presentation and the way we explain how we help customers for the cash flow perspective. So that concludes our presentation.